I tend to talk a lot about this idea of working the drawing or working the pose. You kind of see some of what I mean about that here as I'm filling in the gesture for Absolute Batman, who debuted earlier this year. Scott Snyder and Nick Dragata. Really great stuff and very, very exaggerated anatomy in terms of his physiognomy, like how muscular he is. Even going exaggerated here, I feel like I'm not going quite far enough. And you can see how I'm working to try to capture some of that bulky essence and how many different poses I went through. But finally finding a pose that works for you and sticking with it, I think, is key. You can see I'm kind of returning to this idea of the arms sweeping down, so we have that downward tension to go against the bat flaps on his arms. Adding in some spikes there on his shoulder pads. And then I went from this kind of square horse or straddle stance into this kind of contorted squat. Not my favorite pose ever, but at some point you've got to commit to the pose that you've got, which is what I ended up doing here. You see the shading starting to come in, which is a sure sign that I'm pretty close to where I want to be with the drawing that I'm doing before I start laying into inks. And this is in Procreate, using again their old version of the dry ink brush. I love the textured line weight that it gives me. I can get some kind of Daniel Warren Johnson kind of scratchiness going on to go with the what is, for me anyway, very exaggerated anatomy. I would say also that it helps to be working digitally because I have the option to, when I get tired of something, I can start a new layer, I can hide or delete the old layer. I can work over that layer to try to work out any kinks that might have evolved in the process of laying in the gesture. But this access to layers is a really huge factor. And while you don't have a huge canvas for figure drawing, it's really limited to the size of your tablet, I still think it's a great outlet for practicing these things